I'm Matthew Malone, the team leader of Mentor Mechanics, an F1 in Schools team. This video is going to be a lot of talking, so bear with me, we'll get there eventually. From the previous video, all the elements I wanted have now been sanded. I have also attached the front wing, which, as you can see, is made from plastic using a 3D printer. No big engineering idea behind it, just super glue. If your design and tolerances are perfect, it will join seamlessly with the body, which is what you want to achieve. Otherwise, you'll have to bridge the gap. Depending on how much of a tolerance you have, you can use putty to conceal the joint, or you can use PVA glue as part of your surface preparation. On my model, the car joint is almost perfect, so I can use PVA glue all over. The objective of the glue is twofold: to make the surface as smooth as possible. Well, why didn't I try to do that by sanding the body of the car, I hear you ask? Well, the ridges look pretty small, but sanding them out actually removes quite a bit of material. So you've got to be really precise with your sanding to remove evenly, and you have to know exactly the tolerances of the CNC machine you are using to include it within your measurements in the first place. Otherwise, the sanding can eat into the measurements of the no-go zone, which means instant disqualification of the car. The material is also dusty to the touch. If you paint directly onto it, it can create imperfections in the finish that you won't be able to get rid of. All this considered, it's easier and more effective to use PVA glue. PVA glue, when applied to the whole of the car, adds quite a bit of weight. You will know it by holding a bottle of glue and how heavy it feels. This is a problem if your car is already heavier than your minimum weight, but is ideal to gain a few grams if you need to. Obviously, in order to control this, you need to weigh the car after every layer once it has dried off. This is my cup of PVA glue, and I'm going to apply it with two different methods. On the flat surfaces, I'm going to use a palette knife. The advantage being is it distributes the glue evenly and without leaving any trace. On the curves and for the details, I'm going to use a paintbrush. However, every brush stroke is going to show within the glue until a few layers have been built up. To minimize that effect, use as little glue as possible on the brush. Be careful not to let any of the glue on the car touch any unwanted surface, otherwise it will stick to it. At room temperature, it takes about an hour to dry. Once you've achieved the surface you want, it will be time to paint.